The name Montgomery and Peterson Investments echoed in Hazel's mind like an old memory she couldn't quite place. Then it came back, faded photographs in her grandmother's study. Two young men smiling in front of a small office building, shaking hands beneath a wooden sign. The world was simpler than what happened? Hazel asked quietly. Kyle's expression hardened. My father died when I was 14, he said, his voice steady but distant. A boating accident. Sudden. Tragic. Within 6 months, your father changed the company's name, bought out my mother's share for almost nothing, and erased every sign that my father ever existed. Hazel felt a chill. The meaning behind his words was clear, but Kyle didn't go on. Instead, he said, I've spent 20 years building Nexus, a company that stands for everything your father's doesn't. Integrity. Teamwork. Respect. Things Montgomery Investments lost a long time ago. And Richard knows that. Hazel frowned. You met him? Oh yes, Kyle said. He knows exactly who I am, and what Nexus represents. Which is why your presence here might make him furious. The puzzle pieces began to fit. She wasn't just a rebellious daughter in her father's eyes, she was now working for his greatest rival. Kyle leaned forward. Hazel, listen carefully. I didn't hire you to get revenge. I hired you because you're talented. But now that your father's coming after my company to get to you, I need your help. I need to understand exactly what we're facing. Hazel didn't hesitate. I'll help you, she said firmly. Whatever it takes. That afternoon, Kyle gathered Hazel, Jessica, and Brooke in the conference room. On the table lay stacks of old newspaper articles, business records, and financial statements. Jessica's been studying your father's past deals, Kyle explained. We need to know how he operates. Jessica spread the papers out. There's a pattern, she said grimly. Your father uses the same tactics every time: discredit, manipulate, destroy. Hazel's heart pounded as Jessica continued. He's done it before, spreading rumors, sabotaging careers, even pushing partners out of their own companies. He's ruthless. Then Jessica slid forward an old newspaper clipping. The edges were yellowed with age. Edward Peterson dies in tragic boating accident. SEC investigation dropped. Hazel froze. You think my father had something to do with your father's death? Kyle's eyes darkened. I can't prove it, he said slowly. But the timing was convenient. My father found accounting irregularities and planned to report them. They fought about it the day before the accident. Hazel's stomach twisted. Could her father, cold, calculating Richard Montgomery, really have gone that far? Murder? She wanted to reject the thought, but deep down she knew what he was capable of. Then Brooke spoke up. There's something else, she said, handing Hazel a flash drive. Your mom accidentally linked her email to your account years ago. I found messages between your parents about your father's new deal, the Lantham Group project. Jessica nodded. That deal's been making waves, billions on the line, but the numbers don't add up. There are whispers of fraud. Hazel swallowed. You think my father's breaking the law? I think, Kyle said evenly, he's convinced he's untouchable. Men like that always slip eventually. Hazel looked down at the flash drive in her hand. It suddenly felt heavy, like it carried the weight of her entire family. So what do we do with this? Kyle's expression softened. That's up to you. This is your family, Hazel. I won't use you as a weapon unless that's what you choose. Hazel's chest tightened. Exposing her father meant crossing a line she could never return from. But doing nothing meant letting him destroy everything she'd built and everyone who had believed in her. I need time, she whispered. Kyle nodded. You've got it. But remember, the Meridian Conference is in 2 months. Every major player will be there, including him. If you want to make a stand, that's your moment. That night, Hazel stayed at the office long after everyone left. She opened the emails on Brooke's flash drive. Most were mundane: travel plans, dinner reservations. But buried in the threads were red flags. Mentions of off-book accounts, pressure from foreign investors, and one message that made her blood run cold: the regulations are for people without friends in Washington. Her father had written. Hazel stared at the screen. Her father had disowned her, sabotaged her career, and now he was playing with billions. If she exposed him, she'd ruin what was left of her family. But if she didn't, he'd destroy everything good that remained in her life. She made her choice 2 days later. I'm going to expose the truth, she told Kyle. Not for revenge, for what's right. Kyle nodded solemnly. Then we'll do it the right way. The Meridian Conference was the biggest event in the financial world, and this year, it was Warren Nexus Innovations and Montgomery Investments were both scheduled to present. Hazel worked day and night preparing, determined to prove herself. Meanwhile, Jessica's team quietly investigated the Lantham deal. The deeper they dug, the uglier it got. Your father's been falsifying data, Jessica said one night. It's bad, Hazel. Really bad. Kyle warned them to be cautious. Richard Montgomery has destroyed people for less. Hazel knew it was true. One mistake could end them all. And the day of the conference arrived. The Grand Harbor Hotel in Boston buzzed with power suits and cameras. Hazel could feel her pulse in her throat. Her father was there, charming as ever, surrounded by admirers, her brother Alex standing loyally by his side. When Nexus's turn came, Hazel stepped onto the stage beside Kyle. She could feel her father's gaze burning into her from the back of the room, but she refused to look. For 20 minutes, she spoke with passion and precision. Every word, every slide flawless. When it ended, the applause was real. People approached her, impressed and curious. Then came her father's presentation. Richard Montgomery took the stage like a king returning to his throne. His words were smooth, his charm unshakable. But halfway through, his tone shifted. I see my daughter is here today, he announced loudly. Hazel, stand up so everyone can see you. Hazel froze. He smirked. I understand it must be hard, comparing your small-time projects to real innovation. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Then he went further. The platform Nexus presented earlier, he said, was actually inspired by technology my team developed years ago. He was accusing her of theft in front of the entire industry. Hazel's heart sank. But before she could react, Kyle Peterson stood up. That's a bold claim, Richard, he said evenly. Especially coming from someone whose company is under investigation. The room went silent. Richard's face turned red. Watch your words, Peterson. I'm not implying, Kyle said, stepping forward. I'm stating, we have the documents, emails, statements, recordings, all showing your company falsified data in the Lantham deal. Gasps filled the ballroom. Richard's composure cracked as he looked at Hazel. You, he whispered. You did this. For the first time, she saw fear in his eyes. Kyle turned to the audience. I also have an announcement. Effective immediately, Hazel Montgomery is promoted to Creative Director of Nexus Innovations. The room erupted in applause. Hazel stood still, tears stinging her eyes as her father watched powerless. Later, in the hallway, Alex confronted her. Do you realize what you've done? He hissed. You've ruined everything. Everything? Hazel shot back. You mean the company that tried to erase me? Alex's voice cracked. He never meant for it to go this far. He just wanted you to come back. Hazel stared at him, realization dawning. You think I wanted this? I wanted peace, Alex. But he gave me war. He turned away, shaking his head. Congratulations, Hazel. You got your freedom. But you burned our family to get it. She watched him walk away, heart heavy. Maybe he was right, maybe victory didn't always feel like winning. But she also knew this. Truth had to matter. A year later, Hazel sat in her new corner office at Nexus. The wall behind her gleamed with awards, proof of what she'd built. Her father, once the untouchable titan of Boston finance, was now a fallen giant. The SEC investigation had exposed everything. He'd resigned, humiliated. Montgomery Investments was a shadow of its former self. Hazel didn't feel joy in his downfall, only a bittersweet peace. He'd made his choices. So had she. When her mother reached out months later, begging to meet, Hazel agreed. They met in a quiet park. Her mother looked older, softer. I'm sorry, she whispered. For not protecting you. For everything. Hazel studied her face. Why now, Mom? Because you lost the mansion? The parties? Her mother's eyes filled with tears. No, because I lost my daughter. Hazel exhaled. The anger she'd carried for years felt lighter somehow. I don't know if I can forgive you, she said gently. But maybe I can try. It wasn't a happy ending, but it was healing. That night, surrounded by friends who had become her true family, Hazel celebrated her birthday quietly. No champagne galas. No fake smiles. Just laughter, warmth, and peace as she blew out the candles. She made a silent wish, not for revenge, but for strength. She had finally found her freedom. Her father had once given her disownment papers, thinking he destroyed her. But in truth, he'd given her the greatest gift of all, the chance to become herself. Sometimes, Hazel realized, the door someone slams in your face is the one that leads you home.